we're going to make this bottom section of the windshield, and you can see it comes down a little lower, and it comes down actually 0.67 below. And the curriculum tells you to come to this dimension drawings to do all the work for this part. So if you don't already have it downloaded, go ahead and download that file now and then come back. But we're going to go ahead and make that part. But the first thing I want to do is do an offset work plane 0.67. So let's go to Inventor, and I have my windshield that's in this orientation, and I'm going to do a work plane, and I'm going to zoom in to grab that flat area as a plane, and it was 0.67. So that gives me my work plane, and then I'm going to start a sketch on that work plane. Now it spun it around to an orientation I don't like, and I want to confirm that I have it in the correct location, so I do. And then I'm going to project some geometry. I'm going to project that line and this line. And the reason I'm projecting those lines, if you go back and look at the document, you see all the dimensions come from this bottom line and from this back line. So I want to go ahead and utilize those. So I'm going to go ahead and back to Inventor, and I'm going to go ahead and make a rectangle. And I'm not worried about the size of it at this point because I find it easier to just go ahead and do the dimensions. And the dimension for this line, I'm going to go back and look and see it's 0.226 and 0.29 are my two key dimensions there. So I'm going to go back and dimension those. So I'm going to hit dimension, and that from the edge was 2.26, 2.26. And from the edge it was 0.29. I'm going to go ahead and type that in, 0.29. Now I do know that this is centered on the back, so I'm going to go ahead and use that geometry. And I'm going to come down and grab that line, and I'm going to find the middle of this one. And it's already set up there, so I'm good. Sometimes you get lucky, and that's what I got that time. And plus the dimensions probably set up so it would be centered. Now the next dimensions I want to get is from here to the back, and it was 2.22, and then the other dimension was 0.68. So we have the overall dimension. Now we'll go back and look at the drawing. You see it's got a little radius here. Look, you can use the fill to put that 0.15 radius in there. So we're going to go back to Inventor and go to fillet, and it was 0.15. And I already have that default. Yours may not be that. May default to 0.125, which is typical. So I have those. Now I'm going to take advantage of the offset command, and I'm going to offset this. And the offset is 0.05. So now I have that offset. And where I got that dimension is I remember from doing this so many times as 0.05, but I get it from the detailed drawing. And then I got to put this little notch in it. So let's go back to Inventor and let's make that notch. Now there's a lot of ways to do this. I find it easier sometimes just to go ahead and draw a box and then go ahead and use some of my geometric constraints. So I know that this is collinear to that, and I also know that it's centered on this point on that. So now I'll go ahead and put in some dimensions, and going back and looking at it, you can see it is 0.05. So I'm going to dimension this line 0.05. So I have that set up. And then I can zoom in, and now I know I have another dimension, so I have to dimension from this line to here is 0.09. And then I'm going to trim out the parts I don't need because I want to do this as one nice big extrude. So there we go. We got this little thing trimmed out. So now it'll extrude in one fell swoop. And then I'm going to put the notches up here. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same concept. Do a little box. make it collinear. With that, we know our dimensions are 0.05, and we know that it is 0.09 from the end. And I know I want to trim some stuff out. Zoom in so I can get a good trim going. So now we got that one done. Now we're going to have the dimension from the end. So let's go back and look how far it comes in there. It is, the center of that is 0.95 from the end, 0.95. So I'll go back and I want to dimension and it's wanting to dimension that line. So what I'm going to have to do is probably do some math, would be an easiest way to do that. And let's say from here, and let's go back and see what that dimension was, and it was 0.95 from the center, or at least it looks like it is. So 0.95. And I'm going to subtract, so this 0.02 is 0.025. And that'll take care of that. So we'll go in and look at the drawing. That looks about right. So now I've done most of my work, so what I'm going to do is go back to Inventor, and now I'm going to zoom it out a little bit, and now I'm going to put some construction lines in there. So I want to go up here and hit construction, and I'm going to make a construction line that is in this direction, and hit escape, and I want to do another construction line in the middle here, hit escape, and then we're going to use the mirror feature and a mirror pattern, and I want to mirror this, this, and this, and I want the mirror line to be the center, and I'll hit done, and it should have taken over there. So let's look at it again. Let's try one more time. We're going to hit mirror. I want to mirror this line, and this line. I want to hit a mirror line, apply, then done. Then we'll go to the other side. Now all I have to do is some trimming. So I'll go in here and trim that out. You see I got it out. So now, guess what? I want to mirror some other things. So now I'm going to go back to mirror pattern. And it's just a matter of zooming in and zooming out. Just using roller bar to zoom in and zoom out. So I zoom out, put my mouse right over top of it, and it zooms right into it. And then I want to zoom out. And my mirror line is going to be here. I want to apply it and say done. And that's things I forget to do a lot of times, is forgetting to say apply with that particular feature. So now I'm going to zoom out. I got this one. So now I hit finish sketch. Now I'm going to extrude that. Let me zoom out, and I'm going to change the direction. And if I just do distance, it's going to be weird. Like, for example, if I drag it all the way up in here, see, it's not going to be just right for me. And I can go ahead and do, let's make it 4 inches. See, it's way too far. We keep playing with it. See what 3 looks like. Let's try 1. That's not far enough. 1.5. Half and half. Well, one of the advantages you have, instead of distance, you can use to next. And see, it goes in there and does all the calculations to make that smooth in there. I click OK. And now I'm done with making that particular part of the windshield. And next we'll worry about the material.